Every difficult choice we face in life carries a weight that extends far beyond the moment. Inspired by the insights of behavioral economics, this story delves into the complexity of decisions, where logic clashes with emotion, and the right path is rarely the easiest. Behavioral economics teaches us that human choices are not always rational. We are shaped by emotions, biases, and values that often guide us toward decisions that defy conventional logic. Yet, it is in these choices that our deepest truths are revealed. This story is about the courage to let go, the wisdom to prioritize what truly matters, and the understanding that victory does not always come from winning a battle, but from knowing which battles are worth fighting. Walking away from one path can often mean gaining something far more meaningful: peace, love, and legacy. The last investment is more than a story about illness or loss. It is a reflection on clarity, love, and sacrifice. It reminds us that the greatest investments we make in life are not in wealth or success, but in the people we cherish and the futures we shape for them. It is a story of purpose, where the hardest decisions, made from the heart, become the most profound victories of all. The Caldwell home was alive with the simple, beautiful chaos of family, a place where love lived in every corner and joy echoed in every laugh. Ethan felt it most in the early hours, where the warmth of Emily's soft smile was a sunrise, and Lily's carefree laughter became the sweetest melody. Their kitchen table, scattered with crayons and half-finished drawings, felt less like furniture and more like a canvas for their life together. Every brushstroke from Lily's tiny hands painted dreams of a future bright and boundless. Every shared sip of coffee with Emily was a page in their love story, a story he believed would stretch far beyond the horizon. The walls around them carried more than photographs. They held moments, milestones, and promises of forever. But life, unpredictable and unrelenting, often finds a way to test the things we treasure most. Ethan felt it, the shift, the weight behind his eyes that only he knew was there. Yet, watching Emily's laughter and the wonder in Lily's gaze, he found his answer. What truly mattered could never be measured in days or years. It was in the love they shared, the joy they created, and the legacy they built together. He couldn't control what lay ahead, but he could shape what he left behind. This wasn't just his life. It was their life, and it was everything. But life, unpredictable and unrelenting, often tests what we hold most dear. When Ethan's health was discovered to be failing, a tumor, it felt like the world shifted beneath him. The word alone carried a weight that drained every color from life. Suddenly, forever felt fragile, and joy seemed distant. The doctor's office, cold and sterile, pressed in around him. The air felt thin, the silence unbearable, until it shattered with a single, unforgiving word. Incurable. The word landed with the force of 1,000 unspoken fears. Ethan's heart pounded, and beside him, Emily's hand trembled, gripping as tightly, as if holding on to the life they had built together. He squeezed back, an instinctive promise, even as his own world began to fracture. But the chill he felt wasn't from the room. It was from the certainty of what lay ahead. His thoughts raced, not with fear for himself, but with an ache for Emily and Lily. What would life become for them without him? How could he shield them from the pain he could no longer escape? Yet, in that moment, clarity emerged. The battle before him wasn't with the disease. He had already made that choice. Medicine could chase days, but it could not return the life those days would steal. His fight was for them. For Emily's security, for Lily's dreams, for a future he would never see but could still shape. The doctor's voice continued, distant and muffled, but Ethan's resolve sharpened. Time might be slipping through his fingers, but his love, his greatest investment, would remain. The battle wasn't about survival. It was about legacy, and that was a fight he would not lose. Ethan Caldwell sat in the stillness of his study, the soft hum of the evening breeze drifting through the open window, his only companion in a room heavy with silence. Scattered across the desk lay medical reports, their cold, clinical words spelling out a truth he could no longer escape. Each page felt like a cruel reminder that time, once abundant, was slipping through his fingers. The doctor spoke of options, of treatments, of battles yet to be fought. But Ethan knew that hope, in their terms, came at a cost. One measured not only in pain and suffering, but in time stolen from the life he cherished. His body was already weary, his spirit frayed from the trials he had endured. Yet, in the midst of confusion and fear, a rare clarity emerged. The question before him was not about survival, but about meaning. What truly mattered wasn't how long he fought, but how deeply he loved. His eyes drifted to a photo on the desk, Emily and Lily, their faces radiant with joy. That was his world. The fight ahead wasn't with the disease. It was for them. For every smile, every memory, every piece of their future he could still shape. The battle was not about chasing time, but about choosing how to spend it. And in that moment, Ethan's heart settled with quiet resolve. His greatest investment would not be in borrowed days, but in a legacy of love that would endure long after he was gone. Emily's voice broke the silence, soft and fragile, carrying the weight of both hope and fear. "Ethan, if there's a chance," her eyes searched his, pleading for a possibility, for something to hold on to in the storm they faced together. Ethan met her gaze, his voice steady but filled with the ache of certainty. "But at what cost, Emily?" he asked, the question heavy with meaning. "More days, but less life. Machines, hospitals, and pain. Would that be living or surviving?" His voice softened, but his resolve did not waver. "Let's fight for something greater, their future." He saw it then, the tears pooling in her eyes, the sorrow of a battle they could not win, and the trust she placed in him, even when it broke her heart. There was no need for more words. The choice was already made. It was not surrender, it was love, pure and selfless. In that fragile moment, they chose together, not to fight the inevitable, but to protect what truly mattered. Their battle would not be for borrowed time, but for lasting peace. It would be for Lily's future, for Emily's security, for the life they had built, and the love that would endure long after he was gone. Ethan reached for her hand, and she took it, no longer holding on to what they were losing, but to what they would always have, each other, and the legacy of a love that would never fade. The next morning, the sun barely cresting the horizon, Ethan stepped into the financial advisor's office. The air smelled of polished wood and fresh coffee, but warmth was absent. It was a place of numbers, contracts, and decisions that carried the weight of lifetimes. Emily sat beside him, her hand resting on his, their fingers interlocked, not out of affection alone, but out of solidarity. The advisor, a middle-aged man with a practiced, professional calm, offered his condolences and began discussing options, trusts, policies, investments. It was a language of preparation for a future Ethan would not be part of. Yet he listened intently because this was his fight now. He turned to Emily. "This isn't about giving up," he said softly, his voice steady but heavy with meaning. "It's about making sure you and Lily are safe, no matter what happens." Emily's eyes, red-rimmed from sleepless hours, met his, and in them he saw both fear and trust. The conversation stretched into hours, weaving through possibilities Ethan never imagined he would face. But every decision, every signature, was a step toward the only victory that mattered, their future. At last, the advisor slid the final document across the table. The label read, "Trust for Lily Caldwell." Ethan's hand trembled slightly as he pressed the pen to paper. Each signature felt impossibly heavy, the weight of a decision that could not be undone. Yet, within that weight, there was purpose, clear and undeniable. He wasn't signing away hope. He was building it. This was not about chasing borrowed time. It was about giving Emily and Lily a future untouched by uncertainty. His eyes flicked to the folder on the desk. In those pages, he saw the life he dreamed for Lily, the opportunities she would have, the dreams she would chase, and the security she would never question. She would grow without the shadow of hardship. Her path, though it would miss his presence, would be paved with his love. And then there was Emily, the woman who had been his compass, his greatest love. She would not carry the burden of his absence alone. She would have security, a foundation from which to rebuild her life. It wasn't the future they had imagined together, but it was one he could still shape. Ethan's heart ached at the thought of the moments he would miss. Birthdays, graduations, milestones he would never see. But he took solace in knowing that in every tomorrow, they would feel his love, in the stability he provided, the letters he left behind, and in the life they would continue to build. The final signature was not an end. It was a promise, one that would endure long after he was gone. Ethan felt the days growing shorter, but within them, life felt fuller than ever before. He no longer measured time by hours or minutes, but by laughter, warmth, and fleeting moments that became memories. Each sunrise felt brighter, every shared smile more precious. Time, he realized, was not something to be counted. It was something to be colored. And together, they painted their days with joy. Laughter became their shared language. Soft giggles from Lily as she showed him her newest drawing. Warm chuckles from Emily as they recalled stories from years past. Even in the quiet moments, love spoke the loudest. Their home, once a place of routine, became a sanctuary where every second felt sacred. Though Ethan's body weakened, his heart grew fuller, overflowing with gratitude. The ache of his illness could not steal the joy of hearing Emily's voice or seeing Lily's wonder-filled eyes. He felt the limits of his strength, but there were no limits to his love. This was living, not in the chase for more days, but in the depth of the ones they shared. He knew their time together was brief, but he also knew that joy, once created, could never truly end. It would echo in Emily's resilience, in Lily's laughter, and in every future they built from the love they shared. You will find that true courage isn't in fighting every battle. It's in choosing why you fight. It's in knowing when to let go of the struggles that drain you and holding on to what truly matters. You aren't fighting for time. You are fighting for meaning. You are fighting for them. Your love, your legacy. It won't be measured by how long you stayed, but by how deeply you gave. And long after you are gone, the impact of your choice will remain. Because love doesn't end when life does. It carries on, shaping every tomorrow. And that is victory. Sometimes the bravest choice is knowing which battles are worth fighting